Hello and welcome to the second episode of Bridport Arts Centre in Conversation With. Today I'm joined by Rob Jayne. Hi, Rob.
Hello there, Jonty.
You might have guessed what we're going to be talking about today by what Rob is wearing and what he's got around him. But I suppose to start with, I'll start with my normal question, which is what brought you to Bridport and where you've been and a little bit about sort of your history as well and what got you to here.
Okay, well, Bridport was a natural fit for Rachel, my wife, and I when we both retired out of the NHS some 7 years ago. And we are long distance walkers. We've over the years done quite a few things like walking Land's End to John O'Groats in gradual stages, I'll have you know, not in one go. We've also done the Southwest Coast Path, and just we kept getting drawn back to Dorset because it's so lovely, as everyone knows. And Bridport was this little beacon of cultural influence blinking away, and it kept bringing us back. We looked quite a few places, but Bridport was the place. And with the Arts Centre, the Lyric and the Electric Palace and a thriving artistic community, it just seemed a natural fit to both of our appetites and our backgrounds. Yeah.
I was looking, obviously you sent a few notes across, which is helpful as well beforehand, but you obviously lived in New Zealand for a bit. So sort of what was that all about and how was that for you? Because I've been there on holiday and I must say, I fell in love with it when I went there just for 4 weeks, and I'd love to go back. But so, how's that played into things?
Okay, well, I originally trained as a psychiatric nurse, and that was my ticket of qualification to emigrate to New Zealand. And it was kind of on a whim. I was 21, and I didn't feel particularly connected to England, and I just fancied a change. And so I used my qualification to emigrate. And pretty much New Zealand was the main country that attracted me. Australia, not so much. Canada, not so much. It had to be English speaking because I didn't have any language skills. And being a psychiatric nurse, you obviously need some ability to communicate with your clients. So that was my pull, and I went in 1976. And quite quickly, I became disillusioned with psychiatry. In New Zealand, it was relatively behind the times compared to the progressive hospital I'd trained at in Oxford. And so I kind of moved on quite quickly after about a year, and I was looking around for something to do, and I got involved in political street theatre, which was my initial motivation was that there was questionable political decisions being made in the country at the time, and a lot of people were exercised by this and began to protest. And I became part of that in Wellington. And from there, I discovered that I had something of a talent for performance, and I was really interested in it. And so I developed an acting career. And from there, I applied to the National Drama School in New Zealand for a bursary by audition. I was accepted, luckily, and did a 2-year training. And from there, I was a jobbing actor for about 8 years.
So, and I guess actually, and this is something I was going to come on to later when we get into the magic side of things, but having that psychiatric side of things and understanding people must help you when performing and sort of engaging with people. Do you find that as well, sort of thing?
Well, I think there's a rich tradition of people who've been in psychiatry, particularly nurses, who've moved on to performance. Joe Brandt is a classic example, but there's many others. And I think, yes, you inevitably, because of your interest in the psychology of individuals, you have some insights perhaps into how people react to what they're seeing and what they're experiencing. And that is obviously very useful when it comes to live performance.
It's always that thing. interests me, I suppose, is looking at how someone can perform or act, and that engagement with them, the audience, or how they can read the audience. Some people just don't have it, and you feel that there isn't that connection. So yeah, when reading your history, it made me go, oh, I wonder if that's really helped.
Yeah, I certainly, I think it's a natural progression in some ways. The ability to pick up on cues that people are giving you, both verbal and non-verbal, and that allows you to be responsive in the moment, hopefully.
And I suppose from that acting and all of that, and when did you sort of get into the magic side of things, and how did that sort of come about?
That's an earlier story, actually. I was a child magician. I was about 8 or 9. I was growing up in a small village in Herefordshire, and a little magic set appeared on a shelf in the local store, and I was besotted with the idea of having it. And luckily my parents responded to my plea, and I think it was a birthday present. And that evolved into performing for my friends and schoolmates. And eventually I was doing school concerts, scout concerts, up until about the age of 12, when the interest diminished as other interests took over. And in fact, I must show you this because it's a recent thing I found on eBay. This is the exact same magic set that I bought, or was bought for me when I was 8. And I always wondered where it was. And I just happened to look on eBay the other day, and this was in someone's attic, unused since early 1960s. And so I was able to fortunately get hold of it, and to my delight discover that all the tricks are intact, and some of them are still quite viable, in fact. And this was put out by a company with David Burglass, who was a famous magician of that era, who's still alive. He was probably one of the early TV magicians. And his son, I think it's Martin Burglass, now runs Marvin's Magic, which quite a few people buy their effects, that they're still commercially producing that kind of thing. So there's a lineage to it, if you like.
I must say, I can remember being very young and having a Paul Daniels magic set from the toy shop that I got, which interested me for some time. And then, yes, that didn't go any further. So.
Well, and that's exactly it. For some magicians, the obsession or the interest stays with them throughout their life, and they progress to developing their skills, and they're often moving into professional performance. But there's others, such as myself, where it was a passing interest, but it was quite intense at the time. And it's interesting because after my acting career in New Zealand, I moved into film editing. I had to accept that I was never going to be able to pay a mortgage on a regular basis if I was a full-time actor. So I developed a secondary skill of film editing, and that became my primary skill. And I was involved in the development of the New Zealand film industry in the 70s and 80s. And that was a really vibrant, exciting time. And but I was content to have stopped performing. I felt I'd explored my creativity in that regard, and I never thought that I would move back into performance. But interestingly enough, in the last 6 years or so, it's been the magic that has drawn me back into the point where I'm now actually a working magician, if you like.
I suppose that brings me on to the next thing that I saw on YouTube. I think a little video of yours that you've been doing with people during lockdown with, sort of at-home performances. But obviously there you've got the equipment to be able to go different cameras and different angles and things. So, and I was like, I never knew this about you.
So that's right. I mean, when I first came to Bridport, my interest was in developing a filmmaking expertise, picking up on my previous film editing career. And so I started making little documentaries and buying a little bit of kit. And that kind of grew into a semi-professional small production company, if you like, where I have the equipment and I hire out my skills or the equipment where needed. And I do some commissions and some projects that I just have an interest in. And that kind of coincided with the development of my interest in magic, but it came to a head in terms of the two coming together into parallel tracks with the advent of COVID, which has been obviously absolutely disastrous and difficult for people in the creative performing arts. Whereas I feel incredibly lucky and fortunate in that as I was developing and beginning to be a magician on stage and doing cabaret slots and so forth, that all came to a grinding halt as COVID hit. And I realized that I had the potential to move online with the shows and to develop my skills in terms of performance through the online forums. And that's exactly what happened. And as I say, I feel incredibly fortunate in that regard.
No, I think that's the big thing. And from me, as the technician of the Arts Centre in Paris, it's massive how things have moved online. And, you know, from us talking today and things like that, a lot of this actually was possible, but the technology wasn't all, you know, smoothed out and done. But
Sure.
yeah, definitely over the last sort of year and a half, things have progressed at a massive speed. And I think going forward, from my point of view, I feel that a lot more stuff will be online and a lot more shows and events. And, you know, there will be the option to go and view it live, but there'll be the option to sit at home and watch it at the same time. So
absolutely. And that's how I felt about it, in that we're seeing increasingly hybrids of live and online virtual performances. And I think people in general are becoming accustomed to this and will choose how they want to access the arts in the future in different forms.
I suppose now is a great time because we're so far in already, but I've got to ask, are you able to do a few tricks for us today? And
well, let's here's a heartwarming picture. It's
oh yes,
a full auditorium in the Arts Centre. I thought that would cheer you a little bit there, Jonty. Something you're looking forward to this year, I hope.
Yes, yeah. By the end of the year, hopefully we'll have a full audience in. So
yeah. But I thought, you see, I, as a magician, as I say, I'm developing my skills, but I am actually managed to be able to teleport little objects. And I thought we could experiment with teleportation with this picture.
okay.
I think we need to make it a little bit unique. So if you tell me to write something on it that is unique, then we'll know that it's your piece of paper, if you like.
Let's put my initials. So JRG.
JRG.
Yeah.
All right. So JRG.
Yeah.
On that picture. Just get rid of that. Now, as I say, I'm still developing my skills, so I have to start with small things. So with no disrespect to the piece of paper or your initials, I'm having to screw it up a little bit into a tighter ball, okay? And we'll leave that there. Now, I've invested in some heavy-duty scientific equipment to help me with this process of teleportation. And here they are, a couple of paper cups, yeah?
Yeah.
They are quite expensive, Jonty, I'll have you know.
I do like they're slightly different as well. Just the pattern.
Yes, well, that's the point, because this is the transmitting cup and the paper, we'll put that in there, and that's the receiving cup. I'm going to use a force field to move the cups around, and then, but they don't actually touch. That's the main thing. They be moved separately, and we'll develop a force field, and hopefully the teleportation process will happen. So let's give it a go. All right. Now I'm developing the force field, And some folks might just say that I'm a bloke moving 2 paper cups around on a tabletop, but I think it's a bit more than that, don't you? Let's see. Well, hey,
Oh, well,
whoa, Jonty, I think we've got success here in our first experiment, because that is that piece of paper with your initials on it.
I don't know what to say. I don't know how you did it.
Well, that's always music to a magician's ears, of course.
Yeah, I've always been intrigued, and I suppose it's from my point of view of doing shows and that, but watching magic shows and that, it's, for me, it is trying to understand it, because normally I'm the one trying to make illusions and that as well, by the light or the sound, or tricking people into something. So when you're watching an act or something, you almost go, how are they doing that? But it's out of my control. It's not what I'm doing, you know. So it's
yeah, and that's an interesting thing in terms of magicians and television and online performances, because people might be suspicious that there's camera trickery going on. And that's one thing I do reinforce in the shows I do, that although I've got all the equipment, I do not use camera tricks. And magic it can suffer if it's not done well on television, because people will always have that suspicion in their mind, potentially.
yeah, that something out there being fooled in a different way, I suppose.
Yes, yes, there's technological trickery involved.
How do you find people react to magic overall? So, you know, now you've been doing these online, and I know, looking at some of the videos online, I could see all the people you've got join it. How do you find they react to it? And do people react slightly differently as well, not in person, so over Zoom or whatever?
That's an interesting one. I think Zoom, because it's being beamed into people's homes, they probably feel a little bit more relaxed on the whole, and able to cut loose a little bit, if you like. And so the interactive process is really lovely. When with I tend to do more bespoke, smaller shows for a limited number of screens, if you like, connected households, and that's usually you can have everyone online engaged and communicating. With the larger shows, you have to manage that a little differently, but there's still that sense that people are responding to what they're seeing in a perhaps feeling less constrained, being in an audience with strangers around you.
Yeah, I suppose I've started thinking now, we were going to do this interview, but are there any sort of magicians that you've grown up with, or you admire, or you go, oh my God, the stuff they do is absolutely fantastic. I wish I could do that.
Yeah, well, there's a huge roll call of honor, really. I mean, in my early years, the only television magicians really were, everyone will reference him, no doubt, Tommy Cooper, and another chap called David Nixon, who, funnily enough, was a bald guy of about my age, as I remember him. I wasn't in England during the Paul Daniel years, so I didn't experience his magic so much, but coming back more latterly to magic, some of the stuff that people are doing is really phenomenal. Penn and Teller, I think, are doing fantastic stuff with their respect for magic when they invite other magicians to fool them. That's the hook for that show, but really they're allowing magicians to do good magic on television. And I think that's a really good formula. And then we've got some fantastic British performers. Derren Brown is obviously at the top of the tree in terms of his ability to manipulate the television medium, if you like, and to shape shows with tremendous sort of psychological insights. And then we've got the more straightforward illusionists who are able to perform either on the street or in a more grand level, such as Dynamo.
Yeah.
And there's an up-and-coming young magician called Ben Hart, who won Britain's Got Talent a year or two ago, and I respect his performance skills. So it's an endless list, if you like. But on the whole, the magic community is quite a small community, and for example, I'm a member of the Wessex Magicians Association. Yes, there is one, and that's local magicians based in Poole, who we were meeting. They have club rooms and a little stage where they do shows above a pub, the Grasshopper Pub in Bournemouth.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, and we're now online in terms of our club meetings, if you like. But several of the magicians in that, it's a mix of semi-professionals, professionals, and amateurs. But some of those are full-time professionals who are happy to share their skill base with others. So it's a rich community in it, but it's quite a small one.
Yeah, and I suppose it's that thing of having that community as well to grow and to play off, and I suppose that sort of brings me on to my next question, which is, how do you go about putting a little show together almost? So how do you go about putting the individual tricks or acts, or I don't know whatever you call it, an act or a show, or
Well, it varies. I suppose it's a show. Anything of length is obviously a show. Within that, you have your routines, which consist of a series of tricks, if you like, or effects. But it depends on the type, on the platform that you're performing to. If it's online, then usually the shows are around 45 minutes to an hour, because that's about right for people's attention span of staring at a screen or looking at a screen for that amount of time. Whereas if you do, say, a close-up walk around show, which may be part of a larger event, weddings are very popular. A lot of people employ magicians in weddings, and magicians do walk around during the bits when the bride and groom are otherwise engaged, if you like, with photographs and all that kind of thing. So yeah. That's very popular in the UK. And so you can spend a few minutes with people just doing a number of effects, or you can do table performances during courses while people are eating. And then you have parlor magic, which is for smaller groups, when those days when we are all looking forward to, when we can go and visit other people in their houses. Why not have a magician come and entertain you for a special event like a birthday or such like? Or you get the full-blown illusions, the big stage shows, which can be several hours and just full-on spectacle. So it depends on the platform and the level.
We'll have to see if we can get some big shows to come to Bridport, maybe.
Well, I have to say, you've had, I remember Morgan and West came a few years ago. They're the two magicians in the UK who do they bill themselves as time-traveling Victorian magicians. And it's kind of theatrical, but it's very, it's a full-on magic show. And but they tend to tour the smaller spaces, and they've been to the Arts Centre a few times, I think.
We'll have to. I'll have to talk to Dee and see if she can program them back in.
Yeah, that'd be good.
You're obviously doing these online things. I don't know if you've got a little bit of sort of show us of it, how that works, or just so that if people are interested, and we'll put the link up at the end so people can get in contact if they sort of want to book you for their home performance.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, I've got a couple of promos on YouTube which people can access if they wanted to have a look at my YouTube channel, Rob Jayne, and that gives you a flavor perhaps of the kind of thing I'm doing. I tend to do a kind of family show, so that I look to research the people I'm doing the show for and find their interests, and I try and gear the shows to their interest, as well as being age appropriate to the ages of any children that might be watching the show, or adolescents, through to grandparents and so forth.
Right.
I'd perhaps show you another trick, Jonty, just to give you a flavor.
Okay. I must say, after the last one, I'm like, I just want to see more. I'm thinking of booking a show myself.
Well, yeah, we could always go down that track. Okay, 2 Rubik's Cubes. I think we all know what Rubik's Cubes are and what they do. These infuriating little toys that have been with us since the 1970s. However, sometimes as a magician, I'm able to do a little bit of I'll try to say that again, prestidigitation with them. So, Jonty, choose one of the cubes, this one or this one, this or that.
Let's go for the first one. So the one
This.
on,
Okay, well, this is the one we'll use. This one I'm going to isolate under this glass so that it is in a cone of inviolability. We can't touch it, okay?
Yeah.
Now, I don't know whether you know, but there are something like 43 quintillion possible color combinations in a Rubik's Cube. 43 quintillion. There's a magician, I can sometimes fix them just like that.
Okay, right. That's left me speechless.
I'll mix it up again. And 43 quintillion possible color combinations. They say that if you did one move every second, it would take 4.1 trillion years to go through the full cycle. We haven't got that amount of time. So if I just put it behind my back for a second and see, yeah, I'm able to fix it like that. Right, one more mix just to see, because people say, well, you're a magician. Why don't you just fix it without putting it behind your back? And I go, what, like that?
Right. Okay.
How are you doing there, Jonty?
Yeah, I might need another cup of coffee in a minute.
Tell you what, your turn now, my friend.
Okay.
I'll ask you to mix it up with me. I'll just do a few random mixes here. Now, if we say, just to keep it simple for my benefit, this is the right side, my right, my left, front, back, middle.
Yeah.
Top horizontal, bottom horizontal, middle horizontal. You asked me to move a couple of these sides or fronts, whatever, up to 3 times, because if we go to 4 times, it just goes back on its own axis.
Okay.
Yeah?
So do from the right, the horizontal middle one, 2 times.
Horizontal middle one 2 times, like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And now the vertical one, but the middle one again, do it 3 times.
3 times. Vertical.
Yeah, not that one, the one going upwards, sorry. So second up from the bottom.
I got you. 3 times there. Yep.
That's it.
What else would you like?
And then the one furthest to your left, the whole of that one once to the front. That's it. There we are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you happy to stop there or go one more?
No, I'm happy there, actually. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that is very interesting, Jonty, because there's been some subtle influencing going on here. And I mean, that's been under that glass the whole time, yes?
Yeah.
But it's been visually within you've been able to watch it the whole time. And I think that actually it has been influencing you. Yeah, look, you've matched one of the sides. No, you've matched 2 sides, my friend. Oh my gosh, you are good. You've done the whole cube resolve to the same specification. And I can see that you're slightly mind blown.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, I am. Blimey. I don't know what to say at all. That was fantastic. Thank you so much. Yeah, definitely gonna have to have another cup of coffee. It's too early for a glass of wine, but learning this side about you and seeing what you're doing, I think it's great, and I think it's lovely to see people that are doing something that's during lockdown that is using their skills, and for you it's 2 different sets of skills, obviously the magic and the video side of things as well, and it's bringing a bit of joy to people, and something where they haven't been able to get out, and that's the biggest thing for me, is not being able to put on shows where people could come and see. And what drives me is the joy of people enjoying the performance and leaving and being happy, and not having that is it's really hard. So,
and I think that's that's exactly what impels me to be doing what I'm doing. And it's interesting it's almost cap or recapturing the sense of wonder and awe and playfulness that you have as a child, and most people can access with a little bit of digging. And maybe that's what shows do, what the arts do, is enable us to re-engage with that sense of wonder that we can have when watching something that is just unusual, different, exciting, spectacular, whatever.
No, and all I can do is cross my fingers that everyone behaves and we get to May the 17th and we could reopen the venues and things can start again. And you know, we're planning for it. So let's just hope it happens and people can come back in and, you know, see stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
I suppose, again, we've talked about where to go, and so is there anything sort of, do you have a website or do you just go through sort of YouTube if people are interested in booking a show?
Yeah, my contact details are on YouTube. Perhaps you could put those up for me as well. That'd be really useful. Thanks, Jonty. I am developing a website. That's the next phase, which will be coming along in a few months, I would hope. In the meantime, I can't really talk about it because I'm kind of sworn to the magician's code of secrecy, but I am on a journey towards becoming a member of the Magic Circle.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have to get you on stage in the Art Centre doing a show.
Well, let's think about that at some point. I'm always open to offers.
Instead of being one of our great steward team and sitting in the audience, you can be the other side and on stage.
Great, that'd be great.
But no, thank you so much for coming along. And like we've said before, and you know, this is the second one, but if people are out there and you've got a story to tell, or you want to come on and have a little chat with me or another member of the Art Centre team, you know, do let us know. Just drop us an email and I'll put the details on the screen. Yeah, it's great to have local people that have got an interest in something or something that we probably didn't know about them to come on and have a little chat. So
yeah, that's great. You're doing a great job there, Jonty. Keep it up, and look forward to seeing other people's skills which they're hiding under a bushel, maybe.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. And yeah, and see everyone again soon. Thank you.